Let's have a quick recap on what we've gone over so far. My life as a gamer started off with the Master System. I went through a pretty lonely time as a kid with just a Game Boy. And then I eventually got the PlayStation and started to get friends. This is something I feel like I should clear up a bit though. It's not like Monday I get given a PlayStation, Tuesday I have loads of friends. No, I got the PlayStation and then it was over a year before I started to make friends. Because I had over a year before I moved to my next school. Now, as I've said in the past, my parents had just split up. My mum got the house, and my dad was forced to live with his mum for a little while. He had nowhere else to go. But twice a week I would go round and see him, with my sister. And I guess I was always quite distant, because I just kept thinking how much I want to be at home and play the PlayStation. There was nothing at my nan's to play, there was nothing there to do. So seeing as my dad wanted me to look forward to going round to where he was staying, he got me a game console. But it was a different one. Now when it came to the Master System, he got that console in one with a bundle of games from a guy at work. And that's kind of what happened here. But this time, it was the Sega Saturn. So yes, most people that grow up to become giant fans of Sega, they had the Mega Drive and the Dreamcast. I didn't. I had the Master System and then the Sega Saturn. So I had what people consider to be Sega's failed consoles. Although I don't really agree with that on the Master System, it can't be denied that the Sega Saturn did quite poorly. In fact, I didn't know anyone else that had a Sega Saturn. In fact, there were few people that even knew what the hell it was. But luckily, the games that my old man got with the console, some of them were awesome. There were a few crap ones. Pinball game, some weird photo thing that I could never figure out as a kid. But I want to go over some of the games that I had with that console. First up, Earthworm Jim 2. Annoyingly, I don't have this game anymore. I have to buy it again sometime. I've moved house so many times in my life that I have lost this game. The funny thing is, I've lost my original Sega Saturn, but only the unit. I had all the wires, I had all the controllers, and all but Earthworm Jim 2, I had all the games. But just the base unit disappeared. I can't explain it. Anyway, Earthworm Jim 2. What a great game. Even the old man loved playing this one. He liked how stupid it was. I mean, you have a cow land on your head, and you fight a fish in a bowl. I think the furthest he ever got, if I remember correctly, was when you're on a rocket and you have to shoot balloons or some shit. It was the level after the one with the dogs, which is basically a replay of an old Game & Watch game called Fire. A fantastic game, and annoyingly, a little on the pricey side, which is why I haven't replaced my missing version yet. Next up is a game I only had on a demo, which is unfortunate because I'd have played the shit out of it. Most people got to play this game first on the PS1. I got to play it on the Saturn. Tomb Raider. I've done a Let's Play comparing what this is like to the PS1 version, so if you're interested in that, go to the link in the description. The demo I got to play back then was only level 2, not level 1, which is bloody weird. The demo was of level 2. I played it loads of times, wishing I had the game. But you couldn't buy Saturn games then. The Saturn came along in the area where I lived, stayed there for a short amount of time, and then buggered off. You couldn't buy any of the games in shops. I don't even recall seeing a pre-owned bin with the games back then. It's really weird. Next up is another game I've done a video of, but I've done a big video of, so I shan't talk much about this. Virtual On. This game is fantastic. Legendary. Awesome. I can't express how much I love this damn game. Go to the link in the description, you'll see what I mean. Now then, no more links to anything, we're just going to talk about some games proper like we have done in the past. Next game is the one you see in the background. Bug. A really creative platformer. It's like 2.5D a lot of the time. It's not solely 3D. The scenery is, but the characters, yeah, not so much. It's a bloody tough game. I admit, I've never completed this one. The reason for that though? There's no save feature. There's not even a password feature. I mean, for fuck's sake. The 32-bit era with a 32-bit-ish game and no bloody password? Alright, no save feature. That sucks. But no password? That's unforgivable. The game itself is colourful as hell, plays really well, Really good control on it. Story stupid as hell. Apparently you're an actor. This isn't happening. You're acting it out. Your family's been kidnapped or some bullshit. Don't really care. But there's loads of silly sounds and silly voice dubs. If you have a Saturn but don't have this game, you need to fix that. Next up, a real strange one. Now I used to have a lot of Sega Saturn demos, but some of them demos only had videos of games. You couldn't play them. And there was one game that again was like a 2.5D, which I guess is as good as it's going to get for 3D on the Saturn really. The game looked so different to what I was used to. Looked dark and edgy in a fantasy type world. The video only played one bloody music track for the whole thing. There wasn't a lot of fighting going on in it, but I just knew I really wanted this damn game. Years later, it popped in my head, that video. Just a random day, it popped in my head. I thought, I have to find that game on eBay. What the fuck was it called? I spent days getting home from work, Googling, and just trying to find an image that hit home to what it was. And then I finally found one. Dark Savior. This game is kind of a sequel to Landstalker. It's bloody hard, but at the same time, it's bloody easy. It has alternative routes you can go through the game. You can rush through it really quickly, apparently. I can't, personally. But I've had a hell of a lot of fun doing this game. There are a few points where I want to snap the fucking controller in half. There's a few little battles where you just think, this is rigged as all shit. Then you'll try it again another day and, oh look, I've done it. A great game, a little bit pricey again, but if you can get hold of a copy, well worth trying. Next game has another little story to it. Now, as we know, my parents are split up. My dad had to go live with his mum, my nan. He eventually met someone else. My mum had already met someone else, but we'll talk about that another time. He met someone else. That relationship went bad. Very bad things about it. A couple of good things came out of it, but mostly bad. Then he eventually got with someone else again. Now this person, this second woman, would eventually become my stepmum, Mel. And she had a son, Reese. Now I had heard about Reese before I met him. Apparently, he had played my Sega Saturn around my nan's place and got further in this next game than I did. That game was Rayman. Now, a lot of people have played Rayman on the PS1. It's a fantastic game on both consoles, but I'm sorry, the Saturn version is better. You don't believe me? That's absolutely fine. But you're wrong. The Saturn version is better. The Saturn does 2D games better, and it proves it here with this one. As a kid, I couldn't get very far in the game, I'll admit that. I got to Bandland and then that was pretty much it. Fuck Bandland. Hate it. Nowadays I can get a lot further in this game, but back then, yeah, I kinda sucked. And I heard rumour from my dad, he said that Reese, Mel's son, had gotten further than I had. He had gotten to the red mosquito. I said, there's no such thing as a bloody red mosquito. It's purple, you idiot. Well, no, I was the idiot actually. There is a red mosquito. When I met Reese face to face, we became the best of mates. He showed me how to get further and he helped me out, and after that I could get so much further on Rayman on my own. He just showed me some of the little techniques that I guess I hadn't picked up on. He was younger than me and he already knew how to do this game better than me. Him and me became the best of friends. And then of course, stepbrothers. Eventually it would come to a point when I would go around my dad's house, him now living with Mel, and me and Reese would play video games all the damn time. That was pretty much all I did round my dad's house, and it was awesome. Because there was someone else there that was obsessed with games like me. And this lucky bastard had his own consoles different to mine. But we'll talk about that another time. Maybe. So yes, Rayman. Colourful, fantastic music, incredible visuals, easy to play, difficult to master. A great challenge and a great game all round. Next game is one I have done a video of before, but I didn't go into great detail I think, so I'll do a bit more now. Alien Trilogy. Basically it's a Doom clone. A lot of 3D and 2.5D type visuals, but it is so much darker and creepier than Doom. And in my opinion, The music is a lot better as well. The difficulty is quite bloody high though, I have to admit. But to this day, I do remember one password for the game. Now, I can't remember if this is the password for the PS1 version or the Saturn version off the top of my head. I mean, I could Google now and find the answer. But let's see if I can remember it without looking. 1G0T P1NK 8C1D B00TS0N. Which, if I've done that correctly, forgive me if I haven't, should spell out, I got pink acid boots on. And that will bring up a cheat menu. Again, can't remember if it's Saturn or PlayStation version that has that password, or if I've even fucking said it right. But I remembered it. Very difficult game. The facehuggers used to freak me out. The only reason why they don't anymore is later in life I would play Alien Resurrection on the PS1. Mate, the facehuggers on that. Fuck the guy that came up with that design for the game. Just fuck him. I hate spiders. I hate facehuggers. Which is weird because I love the Alien franchise. I know, I'm weird. Conflicting interests. This game, I'm pretty sure, is a fairly cheap one. So if you don't own this one on a Saturn, then hell, this is probably the best one to get first. Now, the last game I want to talk about is one I was incredibly fortunate to have as a kid. Knights. Not only did I have Knights, I had that stupid controller that comes with it. Now, I say stupid, yet to be honest, you can't really play old school Knights on the Saturn without this controller. I mean, you can with a regular controller, but it's bollocks. You need to have this thing, which Sega would later design the Dreamcast controller off of. I really wish they had just designed it off the old Sega Saturn one, the American release. That controller was great and comfy. Now, it would have looked a bit weird with two analog sticks to play modern games for a Dreamcast, but I would have preferred that to the thing that we have for Dreamcast now. I don't like the Dreamcast controller. I like the console. It's fine. It's great. But the controller's crap. I'm sorry. Anyway, I've gone right off topic. Knights. What the hell were they smoking when they came up with this game? It's so strange. There's nothing else like it. The story to this day, dunno. Don't understand it. You're a jester woman maybe thing in the dreams of these two kids. And if you're not careful, kids die-ish from nightmares. Maybe. Possibly. Potentially. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Have I ever Googled the story? No. I shouldn't have to Google the story for a game. It should make sense. But anyway, aside from that, gameplay-wise, this thing is superb. I think they even brought it out again on the PS3. You can play an updated version of it. That's probably quite cheap now. Like I said, I was very lucky to have this game and the controller that came with it. Whoever sold the Sega Saturn with that bundle of games to my old man didn't realise what he was getting rid of, because I know my old man would only have bought all this if he got it cheap. That's the kind of guy he is. Unfortunately, I wouldn't get any new Sega Saturn games for a very long time. You couldn't really buy the games in stores, not anywhere near where I lived anyway. And the ability to buy them online? That wouldn't be a thing for several years. I did have more games than what I've already mentioned, but these were the best of them. The others were, as I say, mediocre. I mean, one of them was Tilt. Who cares? It's pinball. If you love pinball, great. If you don't, well then it's Tilt. Who cares? So as I said, whenever I went round my dad's place, I got to play this. And whenever I was at my house, I got to play the PlayStation. Life when gaming was good. Life when not gaming was still horrible. Now, as I said before, I eventually go to secondary school. I make new friends through love of gaming and owning a PlayStation, and life slowly becomes more bearable. But once again, it wasn't long before something else came along. It wasn't long before I got to try an entirely different system.